In Oxford, Mississippi, as we take a look at Miami and their starter today, Presley Hosick, senior, stands 5'6", from Bakersfield, California. 1.68 ERA up to this point. She has been great inside the circle.
She really has, and they consider her a real bulldog out there in the circle. She throws in the upper 60s. She can hit 72. She's got a drop, a change, a drop curve. Stays down in the zone, so we should see a lot of ground ball outs if she's on her game today.
She'll see Taylor Malvin first for Ole Miss. A couple of returners, too, from the Women's College World Series team. In fact, she'll see 3 Ole Miss hitters right off the rip this inning that were on that Women's College World Series team. Taylor Malvin, though, continuing where she left off a season ago, where she had her best season statistically. She played in all 63 games for the Rebels, had 43 hits. And she slaps it foul. 1-1 to the senior.
Oh, we talked a lot about Taylor Malvin last year, how in 2024 she had made 5 starts and appeared in 47 games for the Rebels, mostly as a pinch runner. But last year, she really set the tone for this offense in the leadoff spot.
Bouncing ball to short, taken care of by Hernandez. And she throws out the speedy Taylor Malvin. So 1 up, 1 down for Presley Hosick. And the Miami defense, as Hosick's in her 3rd different school, began her career at Bal Baptist and then transferred in from Minnesota. Stepping in now is Mackenzie Pickens. Her nickname, Mac. She returns the home plate to return of the Mac. Takes in a first pitch strike.
What a year she had as a freshman. Selected as the NFCA All-South Region 3rd team, Freshman of the Week, February 24th. Number 14, second baseman in the nation. She's really stepped into her freshman year, and head coach Jamie Traxel hoping that she can continue that so far in 2026.
A lot of expectation for her in her sophomore year, like you just said, Missy, and Coach Traxel last weekend became the all-time winningest coach in Ole Miss history. And Pickens lines it foul right side. Now 1-2 to the sophomore. With high expectations, is it harder your sophomore year to have those high expectations? It's something about the sophomore year.
Yeah.
What is it?
We refer to it as the sophomore slump.
Yeah.
So you have a fantastic freshman year, and then you come in and try and duplicate it. So there's added pressure for sure.
Estrello takes care of Carter, or I should say throws to Carter to take care of Pickens. It's 2 up, 2 away now for the Rebels. And speaking of another sophomore with high expectations, it's Percy Yamas, who right now is tied with 4 other players in the nation with 19 hits coming into today.
Well, she hasn't let up off the gas, that's for sure. Percy Yamas coming in with a 500 batting average and continuing where she led off last year. Just phenomenal plate presence.
Leads Ole Miss in batting average, hitting 500 and also total bases. Chases the high heat. 0-2.
It just doesn't strike out very much. Only has 1 strikeout so far on the season. A lot of discipline and a lot of plate presence, like I said.
Hosick delivers, and it's spoiled by Yamas. Hosick also pitched against Miami. Got a win against her former school, Minnesota, earlier this year. This is that time to Yamas. Against Kentucky, she dealt 6 innings, did take the loss, allowed 8 runs, but only 4 were earned, struck out 5 Wildcats in the process. A wee bit too tight to Yamas. It's 2-2.
That was a very pretty pitch. Just inside, maybe back Yamas off a little bit, come back in with an outside pitch. Nope, goes back in again. You get the presence of Hosick in the circle, and you can see that bulldog mentality with how she's attacking these Ole Miss hitters.
A slow roller to Estrello at second base, and Presley Hosick also sees the minimum. And we highlight Miami. The Red Hawks have just, let's say what it is, they've owned the Mid-American Conference. 5 straight 20-win conference wins, 6 straight regular season titles, 4 straight tournament titles. What's the rest of the Mid-American Conference doing? It's time to step up, right? But Miami, they just had a history of winning titles. They've had a history of producing all-conference players. They have a history of nailing each and every head coach that they bring into Oxford. They bring in the right people to lead the program. This is just a program that's just been successful year in and year out as Aaron Pinter leads off this second inning with the bouncer back to Boyer and 1 away. As Boyer's now seen the minimum 4 batters so far.
Yeah, going back to your comment about Miami, there's just so much tradition and so much history there. And in talking to head coach Mandy Gardner-Colgate, it's just they find the right people, they get the right kids in here to play, and each one is different. Each coach is different, but they bring something different to the table that just carries on that tradition and history.
Well, it did get a little dicey last year for them in the MAC championship, as Mia Estrello's at the plate and takes upstairs for strike 1. They actually went into championship Saturday in the tournament with a loss, and they had to take down their arch rival Ohio twice in order to win the title. And they did handedly. We'll just say that. Handedly. There's Mandy Gardner-Colgate in year 2. Last year, she was the MAC Coach of the Year, and again, swept both regular season and tournament titles.
I really enjoyed talking to her. She's just got that very personable presence, and I like how she's got the team to buy in, and you know how she works with her players and her coaches, and it's just really neat to see. She talked about her team having the best work ethic than any other team she's ever coached, and how much deeper they are this year and stronger and in the circle, and just really couldn't say enough about her team.
Quick call of time behind home plate as she replaced Kieran Kumar, who went to Ohio State, has turned them around. Sharply hit through the left side hole for Estrello. First hit of the ball game for either team. A 1-out single, her 7th hit on the season.
Nice job of hitting here. Takes this inside pitch and just pulls it into the 5-6 hole past the diving Grace Thompson.
Brings up Maddie Patton. DP today, just 1 for 7 on the year. Miami hopes that she gets going today against Ole Miss. And Boyer deals a strike, 0-1. Miami, too, they're no stranger to facing not just the SEC, but all the Power Fours. And Mandy Gardner-Colgate hasn't shied away from seeing the bigger schools. Fly ball lifted out to Grisham in left, and she retires Patton. Back to first base is Estrello, 2 away for Miami.
Oh, she talked about how tough her schedule was, and you know, you can see it. They've already played Kentucky. They're here playing Ole Miss. She talked about how they're not going home, that they're heading on, and that's a tribute to, you know, the academics that Miami and this team is all about. And their focus is not only out on the field, but on the books, too.
Denitza Hernandez, shortstop, with 4 hits, 2 homers, and 8 ribbies so far this season, and hitting 7th in this Miami lineup. One and one. Yeah, like Missy said, Miami added a game tomorrow at Kennesaw State before they head up to Booyies Creek, North Carolina for a tournament this weekend. They played Radford twice, Campbell, and Iowa. Iowa was Mandy Gardner-Colgate's last job before she took the Miami gig. She was an assistant coach for the Hawkeyes. Should be a lot of fun for her this weekend.
Oh, absolutely.
2-2. And Hernandez stays alive at the plate. Hernandez, we talked about that Kentucky game. She was a key piece to that comeback in which Miami trailed by 7 at one point early in the game. She had a homer that brought the game within 1 in the 7th. A 2-run shot late in the game kept her Redhawks in it. Chops this to second base. Pickens tags out Estrello, and that sends us to the bottom half of the second inning. Ole Miss and Miami. See those three names in the lineup? Yamas, George, and Reasoner combined for 10 homers and 41 RBIs. And of course, that's who Miami's going to see. They'll see 2 of those 3 this inning.
Yeah, Maddie George is off to an amazing start her freshman year, batting .433, slugging percentage of .933, team leading 4 home runs. We talked to Jamie early on and kind of mentioned that their offense is a little bit more potent this year than it has been last year.
Yeah, an Ole Miss team that is averaging almost a home run and a half per game, already on pace to surpass last year's record-setting home runs year. Fouled off by the young freshman, Maddie George. Down 0-2.
Maddie George had a big home run against Louisiana on Saturday to give the early lead to Ole Miss.
Sends a bloop out to left, and it drops in there for a base hit. Leadoff single for the freshman, her 14th hit on the year. Now she gives way to Cassie Reasoner, who's one of 16 newcomers that Jamie Traxel brought in this season. And we talked about the Women's College World Series appearance from last year, and as much as we wanted to keep talking to Jamie about it, Missy, she wanted to move on to this group. She also became the winningest head coach in program history this year, and you could tell she's focused on other things and not so much what happened last year, which, again, you should put things in perspective. She should be focused on Game 11 this year and not what happened last.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to talk about it, right? Because it's something that's never been done in Ole Miss softball history, so you got to talk about it a little bit. But yeah, she's really focused on the 16 newcomers and the start to this season and how everybody's fitting in. And you know, she talked about the offense, and we talked about Taylor Malvin and stepping up. And so, you know, the focus does have to be this year and right now. And she was very thankful to be playing at home on February, what's the date today, 16th? Earliest game, home game in school history, I believe, right?
Would make sense. Cassie Reasoner's ahead 2-1. Kentucky transfer. Hard bouncer through the right side, base hit. And George holds up at second base. Back-to-back singles for the Rebels. And Jamie Traxel's crew has something going here in this second inning.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great job by Reasoner to go with this pitch on the outside part of the plate and driving it to right field.
And up steps Grace Thompson. She swings at the first pitch but fouls it off. Thompson's played in 8 of Ole Miss's 10 games, and she's already having a career best year. Battled some injuries early on in her time in Oxford, only 12 games her freshman year. Played 14 last year with the start, and she's already surpassed those numbers this year. Off the end of the bat, Hernandez charges in, and Thompson moves the runners up. So 1 away and 2 on for Ole Miss with 1 down.
that miss hit by Grace Thompson is almost as good as a bunt.
You-
Moving the runners up
Yeah.
and, so doing her job, now letting Rachel Connors come up with runners at second and third, and Ole Miss has a serious threat going on in the bottom of the second.
First pitch to Rachel Connors, and she makes contact with it, but foul. Yeah, you have to tell yourself that going back to the bench, right? Hey, I moved the runners up, did my job. Next at bat.
Right. It's not always about getting that hit. It's about doing what's necessary for your team.
Blown away by Presley Hosick, who again is Miami's number one. 168 ERA. She's 2-1 in decisions this season. It's her fourth start. Just 6 earned runs allowed so far up to this point. 2-1. Hosick saw the minimum 1-2-3 to begin back in the first. And then Missy was back-to-back singles for Ole Miss. And now Hosick's in some trouble here. What are you looking at? You have a 3-1 count. Set your Rachel Connors. What's your approach here?
Well, you have an open base, so you don't want to give her anything that she is going to drive. And so if you miss, that's fine. You have
Connors lines this down the right field line, and it gets down. Olive cuts it off. George scores. Here comes the second runner for Ole Miss. She's safe. Cassie Reisner is in time. 2-0 Ole Miss.
just a great job by Connors. This ball's a little bit too much over the plate, and Rachel Connors smokes it down the right field line to score 2 for Ole Miss.
Cassie Reisner was fast enough. Rachel Connors now with 4 RBIs this year. More RBIs now than she has hits.
Well, she kind of had to hold up a little bit, Cassie Reisner, to make sure that that ball wasn't caught. So that hesitation made it a little bit closer at the plate than it probably should have been.
Mandy Gardner-Colgate out to the circle to have a chat with Presley Hosick. Hosick's numbers so far up to this point, again, it got off to a 1-2-3 start and then back-to-back singles to open up this inning. The Rebels were in business from there. Leilana Applin, the DP, who's 1 for 6, now steps up. And 1 for 6 on the season. A junior who spent the first 2 years of her career at Angelo State. She too a Division II All-American, NFCA first team All-American. A lot of accolades in her career. Inside jam job, sinking fast into center, and it gets down. 4th hit of this second inning for Ole Miss. And the second hit this season for Applin in her first year at Ole Miss.
And nothing really that Presley Hosick did wrong. She jammed Applin, but Applin just muscles that ball out to shallow center field.
Again, this Ole Miss team hits. Swinging .345 as a team up to this point. They've scored 10 or more runs already 4 times this year, 4 times in 10 games. Already 2 across the plate in the bottom half of the second. And like Missy, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, look, I was right. Earliest home game since 2013. I said ever, but since 2013. Close enough.
Well, if the weather keeps this up, Jamie Traxel may want to play 4 more.
Yeah, especially after the weather we've had the previous couple of weeks.
Cassidy Patterson now pinch running. So Rachel Connors comes off for the time being. Here's the 0-1 to Tenley Grisham. Chops it down the first base line. Covering first base, the second baseman Estrello. Patterson up to third, and Applin's up to second now. The old 3-4 put out, 2 away now for Ole Miss, and Now here comes Taylor Malvin with an RBI opportunity. A veteran that had to wait patiently for her opportunity last year. She's played in 28 games, mainly served as a pinch runner her freshman year. Her sophomore season, only 5 starts, and again, back in that pinch runner role. But she was name dropping some of the outfielders she played behind those first 2 years. My goodness, so much talent.
Absolutely.
She mentioned Tate Whitley, who was one of the best to ever swing it and glove it.
Oh, she really has bided her time, and since she's had the opportunity, she's taken advantage of that and just done an amazing job. Started out in the 9-hole and just set the offense on fire, so they moved her back up to the number 1 slot, and she's just taken advantage of it.
Presley Hosick trying to get out of this inning. 4 Ole Miss hits, 2 runs across, and Miami's down 2-0. Sharply hit to Hernandez, the shortstop. She gloves it and throws out Malvin, who's now 0 for 2 today. She's gone the shortstop's way twice. Is Rachel Connors with a 2 RBI single down the right field. Oxford, Ohio, down to Oxford, Mississippi. Pretty cool comparison that our crew did today. Miami founded in 1810. Oxford, Ohio, population around 22,000. Oxford, Mississippi, founded in, well, not the city itself, the university itself, but the population here in Oxford, Mississippi, right around 27,000. I will say this, though, having been to both, they are the same in ways. I just think Oxford, Ohio's not growing as much, things of that nature, but, you know, schools are a lot alike. Greek life's a thing. Students do the similar things on weekends. The buildings are kind of the same as well. High standard academically, high standards athletically. There's a lot of similarities between Ole Miss and Miami that a lot of people probably don't know.
Would it surprise you that I've been to Miami, Ohio?
No, absolutely not. McKenna Campbell leads off. 8-9-1 batters due up for Miami. No, because it's a softball powerhouse down there in the Miami Valley.
Many years ago, one of my other coaching stops.
Little bloop to the second baseman, Pickens, who makes the catch. Let's talk some SEC men's basketball. Because Saturday right here on the SEC Network, we have a quadruple header of men's basketball games starting at 1 Eastern, noon Central. But we're featuring this one between Alabama and LSU, 6 Eastern, 5 Central. You can also watch it on your ESPN app. Yeah, it is still basketball season, even though you're watching softball. Hoop and ball sports still happening. Line drive down the right field line is fair for Carrie Kruger. All the way to second base. She's on her horse to third. A 1-out triple for the 9-spot hitter. Miami needed that, down 2-0.
Yeah, absolutely. Just takes this pitch that's up in the zone, drives it to the right field hole for a triple. Second base hit for Miami on the day.
Kruger's second triple of her career. She had one last year. Now she sets up Bailey Manos. And Manos first pitch swinging, down 0-1. You feel for Bailey Manos, her career, she was crushing it at Purdue Fort Wayne for 3 years. And then after her junior season, IPFW said they're not bringing softball back next year, or this year. She skies one to deep left center. Grisham back, track, it's out of here! Tie game! Manos with their second this year.
Oh, Manos has been on fire this season. Just had a tremendous weekend up in Memphis, and here she continues it with a 2-run blast off of Emily Boyer.
She had 7 total home runs in 3 years at IPFW. Now she has 2 in the first 8 games for Miami. Katie Olive fouls it off her foot. She'll take a moment. 0-1 to start.
Well, Mandy Gardner-Colgate really spoke highly of Bailey Manos, talking about how thankful they are to have her. Unfortunate situation that she was in, but she said her plate presence is amazing. She sees the ball well, makes good contact, and she really sets the tone for the offense. Well, that at bat, she took care of business.
Yeah, you hate to hear that a program cuts their softball team, but she found greener pastures in Oxford, Ohio.
Well, honestly, Jake, there's a lot of programs that are getting kind of demolished because of the NIL and transfer portal, and these smaller schools and mid-majors, they just can't afford to keep softball with it being a non-revenue sport.
2-1 to Katie Olive. Hard bouncer to short, picked up by Reasoner off the dirt. 2 away for Miami. And again, this is a Red Hawks team, the reigning MAC regular season and tournament champs. 4 straight MAC tourney titles, 6 straight regular season championships. A team that had Kentucky on the ropes earlier this year after being down 7-0. Miami lost 8-7. They'll get another shot against Missouri twice later this year, and they host Kentucky at the end of March. Ella Carter looks downstairs, takes strike 1. A team that's not afraid of these Power 4 programs. In fact, a lot of these P4s hate to see Miami coming. Nothing in 2 to Carter, 2 away. Miami just tied this game thanks to Manos's 2-run shot. Again, at Missouri, end of February, and then that bout against Kentucky later this year. Back to Boyer inside the circle, out number 3. Massive long shot by Bailey Manos, her 2nd of the year. Emily Boyer put this right in her wheelhouse. The oppo shot ties us up at 2. We go to the home half with the 3rd. Near and dear to head coach Mandy Carter-Colgate's heart. Her little sister had autism and passed away when coach was at a young age, and the puzzle piece was actually introduced in 1963, and it represents the complexity of the autism spectrum and through its varied colors, the diversity of those on it. As Mackenzie Pickens leads off for Ole Miss, slow throw from the 6-hole, and they get Pickens in time for out number 1. We're tied up at 2, but coach was really passionate. She said, if there's one thing I want you all to bring up today, it's about my culture, the team's culture, and also what we're doing today to raise awareness for autism. And the jerseys look really cool, I will say.
Yeah,
and,
they really do.
And they mean something bigger than itself, which is incredible.
Yeah, and bigger than the game, which is nice to see.
2 pitches, 2 outs for Presley Hosick and Miami's defense.
And those are 2 big outs. Talking Mackenzie Pickens and Percy Yamas, 2 of the team leaders in batting average and offense for Ole Miss.
Addie George steps up with a single her first at bat and takes low. But Miami has, without a doubt, the cleanest look in the MAC. Their white jerseys, their red jerseys. There's some other things coming that Coach Gardner-Colgate teased with us earlier, but we signed an embargo. We're not allowed to say anything. But this is a very special jersey, near and dear to her heart, and an awesome representation. George shoots a missile the other way. 1 hops the wall. And Kruger with the long throws. George trying for 2. She's gunned down and wants a challenge. But will she get that challenge? seems like Jamie Traxel might. Nope. She's calling Maddie George back and says, nope, we're not going to challenge. All right. Quick inning for Miami. Let's see if George has at least an argument. Did everything right up until going to second base, right, Missy?
Yeah, I mean, took a little bit of a wide turn.
Yeah, I think she's out.
Yeah, I think she might be out too, even though she lifted.
A 2-0 lead going into the third inning. Then she allows the 2-run shot by Bailey Manos to tie this game up. Missy, what's her mentality coming into inning number 4?
Well, you know, honestly, it's one of the things we visited with Jamie Traxel about is flushing that and moving on to the next pitch, the next batter. And so that's something that Emily Boyer has to do in this inning. She has to flush what happened last inning, come back. It's a brand new ball game, essentially 0-0. So she's got to come out and keep doing what she was doing in the first 2 innings.
Well, it's the old goldfish saying, right? Have a memory like a goldfish from Ted Lasso.
Okay.
All right.
Haven't
You've
seen
never
it.
seen Ted Lasso?
No.
Oh, Missy. Okay.
Sorry.
Slow roller to third for Thompson. Wide throw. And Yamas spins around. The umpires are saying that Pinter is out. Percy Yamas took a quick turn.
Well, it was an errant throw into the baseline by Grace Thompson. And so umpire calls her out, calls Erin Pinter out. But in the process, Yamas's glasses go flying and she goes down.
How did she hang on to the softballs? My next question. It didn't look like a big hit on the replay, but enough to send her into a whirl.
Yeah, and a lot of times that ball will go flying out of the glove, but Percy Yamas did a fantastic job of hanging on to it. Umpires are coming together to meet here.
Jamie Traxel wants them to get together. For sure out, but Coach Traxel has more to say. What more could she have to say?
Well, I mean, I don't know unless she's talking about
safety per se?
Maybe. I mean, honestly, that's why they have the double bag this year. But it was, in my opinion, which doesn't matter for much, but unavoidable contact between the two players.
Yamas is okay. And again, that's Ole Miss's best hitter too. So if you're Coach Traxel, that's your star player there. So you gasp a little bit and your heart rate may speed up or stop or whatever, but Estrello now comes up with a single back in the second inning. It's her 7th hit on the year back in the second. Making the move from Richwood, Texas, the young freshman, to Oxford, Ohio. As you would assume, a young freshman maybe a little skeptical about moving that far away from home. And our umpires paused play for a brief second. Aaron Golden, third base umpire, came down the third base line to said something to Shane Jackson. Not sure what. Jackson, our home plate umpire. Nothing changes. And Boyer deals low and away. With Estrello, you know, moving from Texas to Ohio, bit of a culture shock, but the family-like culture that Miami had really made her feel like she made the right decision.
Well, the one thing that I liked that Mandy Gardner-Colgate talked about is she gets to know her players.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important, especially with how much kids are transferring nowadays, that if you can get to know the kids and work with them. And she said we even go out to coffee and You know, I want to get to know these players on a personal level because I want them to understand that this is a family atmosphere.
You said go and get coffee. Do you remember some of your players' coffee orders from back in the day, or no? You didn't build enough relationships then.
We didn't have a, yeah, right. We didn't have a coffee shop on every corner like they do now.
Pop-up, shallow right. Pickens, the second baseman, makes the catch. There's out number 2. And that brings up Patton, the senior utility player. So far, 2 up, 2 away for Emily Boyer. You talked about her response at the start of the inning. So far, she's executing what you were mentioning.
Yeah, absolutely. She's going right after the Miami hitters and taking care of business, getting ground ball outs. So she's keeping the ball down in the zone. It's what you like to see if your head coach, Jamie Traxel, is flushing that moment and getting back to business and doing what you're supposed to do out in circle. Oh, to talk about the coffee shop. Recruiting was a different beast back when I was coaching, and so we were allowed to get to know the players prior to them getting here, and then further getting to know them once they got here. So it was different times.
Heck, even 5 years ago feels like the Stone Age.
Yeah.
In this wild, wild west of collegiate athletics. Patton makes contact, stays alive at the plate. This is game 5 in the young career of, I beg your pardon, game 5 in 2026 for Patton. Played in 47 games now for Miami, and she swings but gets hit. Oh, Shane Jackson says foul ball. Patton says that hit my knee, and he said, oh, okay. Go on down to first.
Well, honestly, it doesn't
here comes Jamie Traxel.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that she's coming out because Patton looked like she was swinging at that ball, and she did. So, honestly, in Jamie Traxel's defense, it should be strike 3.
If a softball hits a kneecap right away or the right way, it sounds like it's hitting the bat.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a good thud.
So Denitza Hernandez steps up now with the runner on first base. Half of her hits this year are homers. She has 4 hits, and you can do the rest of the math. Another player that cut her teeth down at the JUCO level at Phoenix. She's an NJCAA Division II second-team All-American. Hit .427 in her time there. Now she's in her second year at Miami.
I guess you could look at those scenarios as these players get overlooked and, you know, they have outstanding seasons at the Division II level, junior college level, and you know, these coaches are able to see what they're capable of. And it's just like with the couple of the kids that Mandy Gardner-Colgate we're talking about coming in, and it's just minor tweaks here and there and sets them apart.
Well timed by Thompson at third. High throw, but gets the out. And Miami Strams 1. In this 4th inning, we are still level at 2. And Oxford, thanks to a 2 RBI single by Rachel Connors, scored Maddie George and Cassie Reisner. And Miami literally the next inning. Bailey Manos hit a 2-run shot to score herself and Carrie Kruger, who had a 1-out triple back in that 3rd inning, and there's your ball game right now as Cassie Reisner steps up to begin this bottom half of the 4th inning for Ole Miss. Her 10th hit of the season back in the 2nd inning. Statistically, one of Ole Miss's best thus far. Kentucky transfer looks low for ball one. Presley Hosick still inside the circle for Miami. Spent time at Minnesota. Also the former head coaching stop for Ole Miss, head coach Jamie Traxel. What feels like a long time ago now as Reasoners to a 1-1 count. Here's Coach. Just wants some wins. Just wants her team to string together some wins. Some head-scratching losses for the Rebels to McNeese, Boise State. Their last game against Louisiana was tough to swallow. And Reasoner pops up. Right back to Hosick, out number one. Especially with a new group, Missy. Not saying Ole Miss knew what they were getting last year with all their newcomers, but they went on to the Women's College World Series, and I don't know, maybe that puts a little pressure on a program the following year to want to be a team that goes to OKC year in and year out.
Well, as I said earlier, you know, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And we saw that last year with Ole Miss trying to figure out their lineup and you know, offensively, defensively, they made some changes and they ended up finishing strong. And that's what you could say about this year with 16 newcomers. You want to figure out who's going to step up in key situations. And, you know, I think you're pretty solid in the 2-3-4 hole, but, you know, maybe the rest of them need to kind of be weighed out, and that's just who's going to step up.
Nearly hits Grace Thompson. 2-1 to the junior in a different leadership role this year. Used to be a leader from the bench her previous 2 years. Now she's a leader on the field. She's taken that very seriously, she told us. And a favorable 3-1. 2-2, excuse me. And one of their losses, Thompson against McNeese hit her first career home run. Now it's 3-2. Just 24 at-bats in her first 2 seasons as a Rebel. This is her 24th at-bat of 2026. Hard chopper to second base, and Estelle takes care of her. Rachel Connors and Ole Miss struck first back in the second with this 2 RBI single.
Yeah, just another player for Ole Miss that didn't play very much last year, but getting an opportunity today, and boy, she comes up big for Ole Miss with that 2 RBI single.
First pitch to her, low and away. Now 3 hits on the year for Connors. She had 4 her freshman year. 4 RBIs this season now for the sophomore. She had 3 last year as a true freshman. One and one. Hosick's 1-2. Just 1 strike away from getting Ole Miss to go in order since the first inning.
She tried to get Rachel Connors on a changeup, and Connors just wouldn't bite.
Back up the middle, and it gets through for a base hit. Rachel Connors has 2 of Ole Miss's 6 hits today.
Rachel Connors doing a great job of putting the bat on the ball. It's an outside pitch. Pulls it a little bit off the end of the bat. It finds its way out to center field for her second hit of the day.
Leilana Applin coming off her second hit of the season back in the second. Tied up at 2 in Oxford, Mississippi. It's the 3rd straight year Ole Miss and Miami are meeting, but the first time that either are meeting at each other's stadium. Miami just happened to be in the area. They were up in Memphis, which is about an hour north of Oxford.
It actually worked out good. Both games for Miami got rained out on Sunday, so able to get in the game today on a beautiful Monday.
Ole Miss winning the last two. Sent the other way, down the right field line, base hit and off the glove of Olive. Connors hits third, and she's halted there. Connors and Applin go back to back. And they put themselves in scoring position here in this fourth inning.
Yeah, absolutely. Outside pitch finds a little bit too much of the plate, and Applin just smokes this ball out to right field. A little misjudged by Katie Olive. Gets away from her. Fortunately for Miami, Ole Miss doesn't score.
They give Applin the double. Just like they did back in the second inning. Back-to-back hits strung together by Connors and Applin. As Applin records her first double on the year. And if you're Mandy Gardner-Colgate, Missy, what are you telling Presley Hosick right now in the circle?
Well, she needs to stay off of the plate a little bit more, and so that's where she's kind of getting in trouble. You know, speed is great, but if you're not hitting your spots, then it can be a problem. And so a little bit too much of the plate. She needs to work the zone a little bit more in, a little bit more out, maybe stay in the river a little bit to try and get these Ole Miss hitters to swing and miss.
Corners playing in on Tenley Grisham. Oh for 1 today on a ground out. As Ole Miss looks to take back the lead. A one-hopper to short. Hernandez gobbles it up and throws out Grisham at first. So Ole Miss won the regular season and tournament titles a year ago in the Mid-American Conference. They advanced to the Knoxville Regional. Their 36-26 record, 20 wins in conference play. Not only good at hitting and pitching and defense, but also great at noticing the camera and making sure that they show off some dance moves too. Here's Lily Witten now inside the circle for Ole Miss. Lily Witten, a junior, what does she have to offer inside the circle?
Well, she came out off of a fantastic outing this weekend, threw a no-hitter against Texas A&M Corpus Christi in the Lafayette tournament, or Lafayette, sorry.
It happens.
But she's going to throw in the mid-60s. She's got a curve, a rise, a screw, and a change, a drop. Throws a little bit of everything. Her opponent batting average is, I think what's key is she's got a .182 opponent batting average.
She misses outside to McKenna Campbell to lead off this fifth inning. Tied up at 2. Bouncing ball back up the middle, and Cassie Reisner, the shortstop, takes care of Campbell, who's now 0 for 2 today. So 1 up, 1 down for Lily Witten. Transfer from Missouri. Did not play last year because she was a mid-year enrollee out of Columbia. Spent 2 seasons there. Her last year pitching was 2024, 11 appearances, 3 starts. Her ERA was 1.18. Carrie Kruger was way out in front of the off-speed pitch for strike 1.
Yeah, pretty changeup by Witten.
Her first triple of the year back in the third inning rather. That eventually led to a Bailey Manos 2-run shot, which tied us up at 2. Yanks it to the third baseman, Thompson, who is ready for it. 2 up, 2 away for Lily Witten.
Well, they don't call it the hot corner for nothing. Great play by Grace Thompson.
And Thompson spent a lot of last year backing up Mackenzie Pickens at second base, and she switched to and from the hot corner and second base some last year, but she feels way more comfortable at third, she told us. Here's the reason we're tied today. Bailey Manos, her second home run of the year. It was a beautiful swing.
Yeah, she just gets all of that. And even though Ole Miss gives chase, there was no catching that home run from Manos. Just an excellent pickup for Miami. Sees the ball well, makes great contact. Really sets the tone for this offense.
Lays down a bunt last second, but foul. So today, the first time through the order for Miami, 2 for 9 with the triple, single, fielder's choice, and second time through, the 2-run shot by Manos, but the rest of the lineup 1 for 9. 8 groundouts total. A bouncer to Pickens. And the sophomore second baseman retires Manos, and Miami goes in order for the first time since the first inning. Record after embarrassing their arch rival, Ohio, the other night. Now 12-0 in Mid-American Conference play, only remaining undefeated team in the country. Lenardi's got them projected as an 11 seed. The entire Miami athletic department is on fire right now, in a good way, because women's basketball is playing well. Chuck Martin's football team, it seems like they make the MAC championship game every season. Miami baseball is picked to win the Mid-American Conference too. But you got to give credit to Travis Steele and what he's done in Oxford, Ohio. 25-0, the best start in MAC history.
That's incredible.
After a Battle of the Bricks win over Jeff Bowles in Ohio. Taylor Malvin at the plate, sends it right back to Hosick inside the circle. And Malvin's now 0 for 3 today. And then you got this Miami softball team too, who we've been harping about all afternoon, picked to win the Mid-American Conference again. And this Ole Miss team too that will go through the gauntlet that is the SEC. Some would call it minor league professional softball. It's just that good.
Yes, it is.
Mackenzie Pickens 0 for 2 today. Pickens came into today with 7 RBIs, 12 hits. Off to a pretty solid start for her sophomore year. Late on that swing.
I think that was more of an oopsie. I should have swung. That was a pretty pitch.
Yeah.
A little off-speed offering from Hosick.
Pickens tied third on Ole Miss's team with 10 doubles. Or that was last year, rather. She had 57 hits, too, 8 homers. Boy, it was a star-studded freshman year for the NSCA All-South Region third-teamer.
And really carrying over into her sophomore season. We talked a little bit about it earlier, the kind of sophomore slump, but not really slumping.
Rolls it to short. Easy for Hernandez. And Pickens is now 0 for 3 today. We talked about the SEC. Here's the preseason poll for the mega conference with 15 teams. Ole Miss picked 13th, but you'll likely see all 15 teams in the NCAA tournament in some capacity. The majority of these teams will host. Oklahoma coming to Oxford, Mississippi later this year. Also Texas A&M coming. Alabama to open up SEC play for these Ole Miss Rebels.
It really is a tough SEC schedule for Ole Miss. On the road at Texas, come back home to play Oklahoma. And
at Tennessee right now, Carlin Pickens is Carlin Pickens. She's inhuman. Percy Yamas comes up with 2 outs in the 5th for Ole Miss. Still deadlocked at 2. Yeah, Percy Yamas, preseason All-SEC. Two and 1. What have you thought of Presley Hosick so far? I mean, things got dicey for her last inning in the 4th, where Ole Miss stranded 2 in scoring position, but she's responded well.
yeah, I think that she needs to continue to work both sides of the plate, keep the ball down. That's where she's gotten into trouble.
Routine fly ball out to left and caught by Kruger, the left fielder. And Ole Miss goes in order here in the 5th, tied at 2. For this season, and this is how they challenge themselves. This is how they prepare themselves for regionals. I mean, heck, they went to Tennessee last year in the Knoxville Regional. Didn't come out of it in advance to the Supers, but they still competed.
Well, you know, they were just up the road, so why not come down and play Ole Miss? And, you know, if you want to be the best, you got to play the best.
Helps your
And
RPI. Let's go ahead.
That's it. It helps your RPI. And not only that, but it prepares you for the end of the season run and postseason.
Katie Olive takes upstairs. 2-0. Lily Witten still inside the circle. Mandy Gardner-Colgate telling us that Katie Olive, she was familiar with Olive when Coach was at Iowa as the pitching coach, and she had heard of her because Olive was wrecking JUCO, just torching JUCO pitching. And Coach Gardner-Colgate said, you know, if I happen to get her on my team one day, these are some tweaks or adjustments I'd make to her game. Lo and behold, here we are. And now Katie Olive's hitting .476 coming into today.
Right. She talked about how strong she was and just a good addition for Miami.
She belts this to center. Malvin's back at the track and the wall. It's out of here. There's your adjustment we were just talking about. Her first on the year in Miami's taking the lead.
Yeah, and to dead center. She just got all of this ball, just said how strong she was. Takes that outside pitch and just drives it over the center field wall to give Miami the lead, 3-2.
That's going to need 2 tape measures. Leadoff solo home run. Now brings up Ella Carter, who's gone yard once this year. That was Katie Olive's first Division I home run.
Wow.
How about the size of Carter in the batter's box? 6 foot. Got a lot of power to her, too. She's 0 for 2 today, though.
I'm just in awe of the things that Mandy Gardner-Colgate said about her, that they had to put a pitch limit on her last year because she would go in and hit so much, and she watches film and just so dedicated and one of the hardest workers. She said she was the most prepared, and she shows up in big moments.
One of the top returners for Miami this year, hitting over 300 for her career. Third most RBIs on the team coming into today, third most hits, hitting third in this Redhawks lineup. Two and two. One of the concerns from Jamie Traxel pregame was defense and pitching. Now again, the pitching staff, they're missing some key pieces that probably would help their numbers this year. But Jamie Traxel saying no excuse. His team still has to execute. As a blooper sent out to shallow left from Carter, and it's caught by Reesner, shortstop. Here comes Erin Pinter, the junior infielder.
Well, there's 2 things that you don't want to give up, walks and long balls. And Ole Miss had been doing a really good job of getting a lot of ground ball outs. And unfortunately, Witten puts the ball up a little bit in the zone, and Katie Olive takes advantage of it.
2 home runs today for Miami, and they lead Ole Miss 3-2. Pinter, 2 ground outs today. She was clutch in the win against Loyola Chicago that went into 8 innings earlier this year. Had a walk-off 2 RBI single. Miami was a 9-8 winner over the Fighting Sister Jeans. Inside jam job, back to Witten inside the circle, and there's out number 2. And up to bat comes Estrello, the young freshman.
Well, it's good to see Witten come back after that home run and get 2 quick outs.
Again, the memory of a goldfish. Goldfish has a 10-second memory. You gotta put it behind you.
I didn't know a goldfish even had a brain.
Line drive down the right field line. It's fair and into the corner. Estrello's on her way to second base with a 2-out double. The Redhawks are swinging away in this 6th inning.
That they are. It's a nice job by Estrello taking that outside pitch and driving it to right field for a stand-up double.
Estrello's 3rd double this year. And Miami has an opportunity here with 2 outs to add insurance to their lead.
I think we're going to have a pinch hitter.
I was going to say, you just read my mind.
Addie Litton.
Evie Dundane.
Who is it?
Dundane. Remember, we were talking to Coach about Evie?
Oh, I'm sorry. I did the wrong name. My bad. My bad. I was looking at the Ole Miss lineup instead of the Miami lineup.
I was going to say, for those curious, Missy had the Ole Miss non-starters.
Yep, I did. Sorry.
I think because of this, Jamie Traxel is going to make a change too. So both these head coaches playing chess back and forth, making moves. Lily Witten's day is done. Kyra Aycock will come in to pitch. Those are Witten's numbers. We'll tell you about Aycock when we come back in Oxford. So Mandy Gardner-Colgate puts in a pinch hitter. Therefore, head coach Jamie Traxel for Ole Miss puts in a new pitcher in Kyra Aycock.
Yeah, you're going to see her back in the upper 60s, kind of like we saw from Emily Boyer. She throws all the pitches, fastball, drop, rise, change, screw. Transfer from Oklahoma State.
Yep, 4th-year player in her first season at Ole Miss. Dundane, pinch hitting for McKenna Campbell, who is 0 for 2 today. Or I should say Maddie Patton, beg your pardon. And takes a strike, 1-1. Dundane fouls it down the third base line.
Oh, Aycock definitely has the experience. Like you said, spending 3 seasons at Oklahoma State. She was 16-6 over 59 games. She made 33 starts and compiled a 3.31 ERA. So she's seen the action. She knows what it takes to be in the circle out there as a senior.
2-2, 2 outs. All Aycock needs is 1. Miami's takes their first lead today. Earlier on this inning, solo home run by Katie Olive. Two, swing and a miss. Gets the much needed 3rd out with a runner on second base. Miami takes its first lead today, up 3-2 on Ole Miss. All of Miami's runs today have scored via home run. That strikeout to end the top half of the 6th inning was their offense's first strikeout today. Missy Dickerson pointed that out during the break. And Missy, this team in Miami, offensively, they only have 1 single today. The rest of their 5 hits are extra base hits.
Yeah, when they put the bat on the ball, they really put it on it. And like you said, the extra base hits are what's been the key for Miami today.
Saw Presley Hosick still inside the circle for the Redhawks. Faces Maddie George, who's been a thorn in the side of Hosick today with 2 singles, now up to 15 hits this year. Second most for Ole Miss, right behind Percy Yamas's 19. And George takes strike 1.
Every ball that Maddie George has hit today has been smoked. Done a good job of putting the bat on the ball.
Speaking of smoking the softball, she finds the gap in right center. And George slides into second base. This time she slides into second base safely. She was gunned down on her last try going to second.
Yeah, this is definitely a no-doubter for a double for her. She tried last time to extend her single into a double. This time it drives the ball into the right center gap. Really doesn't need to slide, but adds it for emphasis, trying to get her team motivated.
Izzy Rediger will pinch run for George. She represents the tying run at second base. Rediger, the freshman from Buford, Georgia, one of 3 players on this Ole Miss roster that graduated from Buford High School in Georgia. Reisner shows bunt. Rediger's on the run, and she's at third base.
Just a great job of taking advantage of that mishandling of a pitch by McKenna Campbell. Rediger keeps her feet moving and is able to take third base.
Fouled off by Reisner. Tying run at third base for Ole Miss. You like their odds with nobody out.
Oh, absolutely. Reisner already with a single today.
She pops up. Who's got it for Miami? And it's the first baseman, Carter. Big first out for Hosick and Miami with the tying run on third. And up comes Grace Thompson.
Grace Thompson has put the ball in play, both at bats, both ground outs. She's been working the middle of the field. One ground out to short and the other to second.
She can come up clutch here for her team. She's been waiting for opportunities like this to make impactful plays for 2 seasons. Finally, with an everyday position, here's the pitch. And she's ahead 2-0. For 2 years, she's been a leader from the bench. And this year, finally, she said she gets to be a leader out on the field. With the tying run on third base on this Monday afternoon, here's the 2-0. And Hosick deals it 2-1.
You have Danitza Hernandez playing a little bit deep at shortstop.
Scorches it foul, now 2-2.
Any kind of slow roller is going to score Rediger from third. A little surprised at the depth that the middle infielders are playing at.
Counts full.
Pitch on the outside corner, didn't miss by much.
And she stays alive. Thompson was held back by shoulder surgery her freshman year. Played in 12 games as a redshirt freshman. 14 of them last year, had 17 at-bats, 5 hits, and is already producing at a career high level this year. turns on it to first. Step on first for the out, and Rediger rather, comes home. She's safe. 2 down. And this game's tied at 3.
I think that's a mistake by Ella Carter. The hard hit ball, she has the play at the plate, but chooses to get the out at first base, allowing Ole Miss to score and tie this ball game up at 3.
I was just gonna say, do you go home there or do you try the double play? But you answered my question for me.
That was a big mistake, if you ask me. I think that she needed to go home because she had Rediger at the plate. Even on that throw, it still wasn't that late.
Here's Rachel Connors with 2 singles today, 2 RBIs. To first, and it squirts through into right. And now with 2 down, the leading run for Ole Miss is at first base. What a game we've had on this Monday.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. And what a day Rachel Connors is having at the plate. 3 for 3.
One of the best days, if not the best day, at the plate for Rachel Connors in 2026. Came into today with just 2 hits on the year, and today she's got 3. And Leilana Aplin's been just as impressive. A double, a single. She came into today just 1 for 6 at the plate.
Well, she's got an opportunity to DH, and she's taken advantage of it.
Inning got started off Maddie George's double, leadoff double. Since that leadoff double, Izzy Rediger took third base and then scored on the ground out to first from Grace Thompson. 2-1 count to Applin. Way out in front of it, 2-2.
Hosick pulls the string on that changeup. Applin way out in front.
Yanked down the third base line and foul.
That was not foul by much. I'd like to see that again.
Ask and you shall receive. See where the dirt kicks up right in front of the, ooh. A slow dribbler left side, and the third baseman high throw from Pinter, and Applin's safe. The high throw pulled Carter off the bag. Leading runs at second base for Ole Miss with 2 outs.
She does a great job going to her left, but ball just sails on her. That throw to Ella Carter pulls her off the bag. Ole Miss's runners at first and second. Maybe a 2-out rally here.
What's your conversation here if you're second-year head coach Mandy Gardner-Colgate?
Well, I mean, it's really not Hosick's fault. So she got the ground ball. She should have been an out. Now you just got to maintain your composure and stick with the plan. Keep working both sides of the plate. You know, Tenley Grisham is 0 for 2 today with 2 ground outs. So,
and this is another junior for Ole Miss that kind of took a role in the back seat her first 2 seasons. And now here in her junior year has already produced career best numbers. And Jamie Traxel has that notepad out with home plate umpire Shane Jackson. Let's see what change Coach Traxel makes here. Jamie Traxel summoning a pinch hitter.
yeah, we're definitely going to see a pinch hitter. Tenley Grisham Grisham went back to the dugout.
But said pinch hitter hasn't come out yet.
It's a secret.
I don't know if it can be a secret. Any guesses?
Oh, yes.
No. If
Taylor Rowland.
Yeah, you guessed Taylor Roman, you were correct.
Roman.
Served mainly as a pinch hitter all last year for Ole Miss. This is year 2 for her in Oxford. She's cranked plenty, and I mean plenty, of long balls for Ole Miss as a pinch hitter, including the go-ahead 3-run home run in the 5th inning against Arizona in last year's Tucson Regional. First pitch to Roman, misses inside.
I was down on the field earlier while they were warming up, and she is just so tall. That bat looks like a toothpick in her hands.
Stands 6'1". Hosick doesn't look intimidated, deals it on the inside edge. Go ahead run at third. Ole Miss tied it up earlier this inning at 3. And Roman fouls it off, 1-2.
Yeah, Hosick working the inside part of the plate against Roman. Roman doing a good job of fouling that inside pitch off.
Sweaty palms time in Oxford. Keeps aiming for the inside.
Yeah, you have to think that at some point she's going to bust something on the outside part of the plate. But we'll see.
Swing and a miss. Presley Hosick gets out of it. Ole Miss strands 2. We're deadlocked at 3. Mark with runners in scoring position, and Coach Traxel told us on the field earlier, Missy, just the missed opportunities have been killer for the Rebels this year.
Yeah, but those missed opportunities were on defense and in the circle, not at the plate. And so we're seeing a little bit of it, the struggles at the plate, knowing how offensively potent that Ole Miss has been the first part of the season.
Kyra Aycock still inside the circle for Ole Miss. Denitza Hernandez with the 1-1 count, 0 for 2 today. 7, 8, 9 hitters in this Miami lineup that have 1 hit combined between the 3 of them. Kyra Aycock, well-traveled, has a ton of innings under her belt. 217 career innings pitched between Oklahoma State, where she was for 3 years, and this is year 1 in Oxford. Miami's hit 2 home runs. Of their 5 hits, 4 of them are extra base hits. Hernandez chops it to third. Grace Thompson off the hop. And Hernandez now 0 for 3. And here comes McKenna Campbell, the junior catcher in year 3 at Miami. All-conference second teamer last year in a breakout year. And a career best, 341 a season ago. However, not off to a great start this year. Boy, she can change that here.
Absolutely.
Just 1 hit so far for Campbell. She's 1 for 14 to begin the year. She hit over 330 her freshman year, and again 341 last season. And you see that 083 batting average, just uncharacteristic for her.
Yeah, I'm sure Mandy Gardner Colgate is looking for her to break out. But she also talked about there's people waiting in the wings. And maybe that's putting a little bit of pressure on Campbell. And she talked about how they're stronger in the circle and deeper offensively, and so.
Chopper to second base, right to Pickens. 2 away for Miami in the 7th. Kyra Aycock, since coming in the 6th inning with the runner at second base and 2 outs, has retired 3 straight. Looks to make it 4 against Carrie Kruger, who between the bottom 3 batters in Miami's lineup has the lone hit. She tripled back in the 3rd, and then Bailey Manos followed that up with a 2-run shot later on. It's Kruger's 2nd career triple, 1st on the year, and her 3rd hit this season. Wanted it upstairs.
Yeah, that was a big cut by Kruger. Not only that, but the head flew out. She wasn't going to touch that pitch.
Down the first base line, but foul by a couple of feet. Aycock's ready. The 0-2.
Not a bad miss there by Aycock. Previous pitch was on the outside part of the plate that Kruger got a piece of, this time coming back inside.
See what she does here. Third base line, fair ball for Kruger. Big turn at first base, but goes back. And a 2-out single and a multi-hit day for Kruger. And now the Redhawks are back topside here in the 7th.
Yeah, just looked like an off-speed pitch from Aycock, and Kruger just gets a piece of it and pulls it inside the third baseline for a single.
Bailey Manos came up big in the 3rd inning with a 2-run home run. It's her 2nd homer of the year. She's put it in play in every at-bat. The hometown kid from Harrison, Ohio, not far from Oxford. Back up the middle. Oh, what a stab by Aycock, and she throws her out. Cat-like reflexes for Aycock in the circle. We're still tied up at 3. In 2026, and the Ole Miss Rebels have found themselves in a fight with the reigning MAC champs out of Oxford, Ohio. It's Taylor Malvin. All ground outs today, twice towards shortstop, leads off. Perhaps Ole Miss's 3 best hitters all due up this inning. Malvin to short, and it's through the middle of Hernandez. Ole Miss was able to tie the game back in the 6th on a leadoff double. Can they take the lead now in the 7th with the leadoff runner aboard here in the 7th?
Well, you know, it's these types of games that whoever makes the first mistake usually costs them. And right now, Miami making the first error.
Pickens shows bunt. Do you have Mackenzie Pickens show bunt here, Missy? Knowing what she did all last year, she raked. Was an NFCA All-South Region 3rd teamer. She's hitting .400, but again, she's 0 for 3 today. You know she can swing it.
Yeah, but if you're Ole Miss, you want to get runners in scoring position.
Snap throw to first, and Malvin's back in time. And just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah,
I know you're right, but I mean,
absolutely.
Again.
I mean, you know, it's...
One of Pickens' nicknames are Mac Attack. She knows what
Right.
she's doing in there offensively.
Right. And, you know, I think that's just head coach Jamie Traxel's preference is to get a runner in scoring position. And unfortunately, Mackenzie Pickens is now down in the count 0-2. And honestly, if you're going to bunt, you need to be up in front of the box and stay stationary. She's moving while she's trying to bunt, and that just doesn't ever work out.
To Carter, the first baseman. They go to second to get the force out, and Pickens is safe at first.
That's a great job by Ella Carter to get the lead runner. She almost went and tagged first again, but heads up move to go to second to get the lead runner.
109 pitches for Presley Hosick inside the circle today, too. Long day for her as Yamas shoots this into the gap, right center, down for a base hit. Pickens hits third. She's coming home. Is she fast enough? She is. Ole Miss wins. Percy Yamas, first pitch swinging. She calls game, and Ole Miss walks it off against the reigning MAC champs.
Yeah, a heartbreaker for Miami, but Percy Yamas has been hitting the ball hard all day long, and here she drives the ball into the right center gap, scoring Pickens all the way from first base to walk it off for Ole Miss.
If you're the Rebels, maybe you didn't want to be in this situation today on a Monday afternoon, but all credit goes to Miami, who will have plenty more cracks against the SEC later on this season. And if you're an Ole Miss fan, you can sit back, relax, and exhale and enjoy the rest of your Monday. That was a heart racer. David Dillard directed it. Jim Holder produced it. For Missy Dickerson, I'm Jake Cremata saying so long from Oxford. A happy hottie toddy from Ole Miss softball on a Monday afternoon. We'll talk to you down the line. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader. Have a great rest of your President's Day.